Okay, so we're going to show you here the best way to set up your ad on the seller side. So if you already have an ad that you are already running when you first set up trial, no worries. You can always go into the ad section here and then go pause it and then follow these best steps to find the best performing ad in your market. So we're going to go into the funnel section here, and this will give you access to the funnels. We're going to focus in on this seller funnel that's available to you in trial. It's the conversion one right in the middle, and we're going to hit select. So on this first page is where you can set up the imagery and you can set up the city and neighborhood for the copy. What we're going to do is we're actually going to skip this step and then come back to it because it's a matter of understanding what our targeting actually looks like, because you are limited to a 15-mile minimum radius. We want to work with that and align the imagery and the city with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit next. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to drop a pin. And what you really want to consider is a address that is central to where you're willing to go 15 miles in any given direction. So I've got an address here that I'm just going to put in, and I'm going to select that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this bigger so that you can see this right here. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And this is the area that would be targeted if I use that particular address. So now I just want to take a look and go, okay, well, is this the area that I want to farm, right? All the way out to Hampstead here, down to Kerr Beach. If that's what I'm happy with, then I would leave it there. If not, you can always drag and move this pin someplace else. Now, being by the ocean here, we can actually do a hack where we can pull it out into the ocean and therefore actually kind of limit the area that we're actually targeting. So now I'm down to Kerr Beach and only Kirkland, and I'm not really going across the river here. So that's a bit of a hack if you want to limit your and reduce your targeting if you live by an ocean, or even if you live, let's say, close to a mountain range or something like that. So let's say I'm happy with this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller here, and then I'm going to hit done. That's going to set the coordinates for that. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to set up the imagery for this. So I'm going to use that exact same address. It just makes it easy. I'm going to select that. It's going to center the map in here. I have a couple of flavors of this. You could use the satellite version, the map version. I'm going to recommend the map version when you first get started. It's a little bit clearer. And then if you live in an area where there is terrain, you can turn that on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this map now to align with the targeted area. And that's really important because anybody who's living in that targeted area are the people who are going to see this ad. And we want to make sure that where they live is actually on there. So let's say I'm out in Kerr Beach there, and I see this imagery right here. Well, where I live isn't on there, and so therefore it's not relevant to me. This is kind of like looking at a group photo, and who's the first person you look at? Same thing when you look at a map image of an area that you live in. First place you're going to look for is where you live. If you don't see where you live, you're probably just going to scroll on by. So I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit here just to make sure that I get all of those areas. I still don't have that Kerr Beach there. That's in the south. So I'm going to zoom out one more time, and there we go. So now we've got all of the area that we're actually targeting in there, and this is what's going to create relevancy with the person who sees it. Next up, I don't want to come in here. You can see that there's a whole bunch of different little cities and towns and different things in there. I don't necessarily want to call out one specific one because, again, if I don't live there, it's not relevant to me. So what we recommend is actually doing something that's going to pull your eyes up into the copy. And that's using a home emoji. So I'm just going to use a service like this, homeemoji.pedia.org, search for house. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to creating my ad, and then I'm going to just paste that in. And what we found is that 3 house emojis actually works really well. And you can see that now it draws my eyes up into the copy. So if someone wanted to buy your home, would you sell it? Find out value in the current market. All right, so once I'm happy with the imagery and the copy, I'm going to hit next. And then we've already set our pin, so we're good there. I'm going to hit next again. You set your daily budget. We recommend the $9 to get started. We benchmark that across 70,000 plus ads. It has the best reach per day, and it's a great place to get started. Once you understand your lead flow, then you can adjust it accordingly after that. You can also choose to launch to Instagram, put in your estimated commission value. This just helps to calculate ROI on your ad performance, and then simply hit deploy. So once you've actually deployed that ad, the next really important step is to do what we call a split test. And there's a Huge reason for this, because you're not fully in control of one variable on this ad. So what that is, walk you through it. There are 5 variables that are on an ad. So number 1, what it looks like. So that image. Number 2, what does it say? The copy. Number 3, where is it running? So that pin drop. Number 4, the daily budget. And number 5, the audience. Now, number 5, the audience, is the one that you're not fully in control of. So Facebook, with their algorithm, is going to try to do a pretty good job of trying to select your audience and getting the right audience. But what's going to happen is that every single time you launch an ad, Facebook is going to do their best to assign it an audience. So what'll happen is we have this area of people. Facebook, you launch one ad, it's going to go, okay, we're going to select a group of people out of all of these people that we think is going to convert on that ad. So we're going to set that ad's audience to these people. Now, if you launch another ad, you get another different group of people, different from the first ad. And if you launch a third ad, same thing happens. Now, each ad has a slightly different audience from each other. So what we recommend is that you actually go through and you create 3 ads and you set them with the exact same map imagery, exact same emojis, and the exact same pin drop, and the exact same budget. So all of the ads are identical to each other. The only difference is that they have a slightly different audience. We're using the scientific method here. So now we run that for a 24-hour period and then check in on performance. So here's a case study of what that can actually look like after a 24-hour period. So for this gentleman here, we launched a split test of 3 ads, each identical to each other. We had the same pin drop, same imagery, we used the same emoji, we used the exact same ad spend. 24 hours later, we found our clear winner, which was this top one right here. But let's take a look at the other 2. So the first one down here had a cost per click of $4.42. So with a daily budget, that would only allow 2 people to click on the ad before that's all spent up. And that's exactly what happened. We have 2 clicks. Now, that only resulted in 1 lead. So 1 person leaving their address, and that person as well left their email. So their cost per lead and cost per email is that full $8.85 spend. A little high to acquire 1 lead per day. Next up here, we have the other ad. We have cost per click of $1.49. Allows a lot more people to click on that ad, and that's exactly what happened. We have 7 leads. 2 of those clicks actually resulted in 2 people leaving their address, and then 1 of them left an email. So out of that ad spend of that $10 there was $5.21 for cost per lead, and $10, that full $10 for the cost per email. Still not quite what we're looking for. Now we come to this final one here. This was our clear winner. Had a cost per click of $1.36, which is even better than the previous 2. And we had 30 clicks, which resulted in 30 leads, which means that we actually had a click to contact rate of 100% on this one, which was fantastic. And our average cost per lead was $1.36, and the average cost per email was $3.39. So all for the same ad spend. 3 ads, totally different results, because they hit a totally different audience. And if the audience is not the right audience, you're going to spend more to acquire those leads. So you can imagine this now, if we were to maximize this, if we only launched 1 ad, rolled the dice, and end up with either one of these first 2, of course, you wouldn't have been getting very many leads per day. We did the split test, found the best performing ad. This way, we are maximizing that ad spend on Facebook. And that's why it's important to do that. So I encourage you, go through, launch your ad, do it the exact same way that I just showed you there, then launch 2 more identical to it. Wait 24 hours, check in on the performance, pause the 2 that are not performing well, and keep the 1. If you want help with that, you can always book with your coach, and your coach will be more than happy to help you understand your ad metrics. All right, hope this helps.